On such a warm spring day, few Oklahoma City residents were worried about the possibility of a tornado. Yet the threat of a serious storm led the 4 p.m. news reports.
Good afternoon, glad you're here. I'm Kelly Ogle.
I'm Robin Marsh, glad you're with us this Monday, and we do begin with some potentially dangerous weather across Oklahoma today.
Here we go again. Gary's in the forecast center with the very latest. Gary?
Thank you, guys. Conditions are pretty favorable for some explosive thunderstorm development. In fact, some of that's going on right now. There's going to be a threat of severe thunderstorms, large hail, and the possibility of some tornadoes with these storms.
Gary England is the best known of Oklahoma's weather forecasters. He's been Channel 9's meteorologist for 25 years.
Val's trying to talk to you.
Okay, Val, talk to me.
Even with the latest Doppler radar technology, he couldn't be certain that a tornado had touched down. England relied on storm tracker Val Castor to be his eyes and ears.
There's not a radar in existence that can tell you if a tornado's on the ground, but what you have to have is somebody out there that you can call or talk to on the radio and say, for example, Val Castor's one of ours. You can say, what do you see? It's absolutely critical.
Just after 5 p.m., Val saw his first funnel cloud near the tiny town of Cyril, 78 miles southwest of Oklahoma City.
We were out there before the first storms even developed. And we watched the very first storm go up that day. We watched it get stronger, become severe, and then put down a couple of bigger tornadoes after that.
Val's job was to give accurate, timely updates back to Gary at the Weather Center so the public could be warned. Over 1 million people lay directly in the path of the advancing bad weather. Most were still unaware of the rapidly growing danger.
Relax, keep the TV on, we'll keep you advised. Now let's take a look at Viper, and we'll take a time lapse at it. Main storm right now, just now developing very quickly, and it's moving. It looks like northeast.
In southwest Oklahoma City, John and Dixie Szymanski were planning on a quiet evening home together. The television was tuned to Channel 9's Gary England, but neither John nor Dixie were worried by what was being reported.
I didn't know very much about tornadoes, being from New York. When I first moved here, I noticed the warnings and the watches on TV, and I'd paid attention to them, and I got nervous the first couple times when I saw them. But then I grew accustomed to them, and I guess I became complacent and didn't pay much attention to them after that.
Form zone 10, Snyder, update. What do you got, Val?
Okay, it looks like to me, Gary, this thing is rapidly getting organized. The rotation has gotten much stronger. We're probably 3/4 of a mile behind it right now. Gary, we have a tornado on the ground, a brief touchdown. It's 2 miles west of Chickasha, moving to the northeast.
Just after 5:30 p.m., the weather grew suddenly much more dangerous. A large tornado had touched down near the town of Chickasha, 45 miles southwest of the metropolitan area. It was now a violent F2 category tornado, almost 500 yards wide. People were unprepared as the tornado roared into the small downtown. The F scale, or Fujita scale, is used by meteorologists to rate the intensity of a tornado by examining the damage it causes to man-made structures. An F2 is considered a significant tornado with wind speeds up to 157 miles per hour. It was storm tracker Val Castor's first sight of the monster tornado that would soon terrorize Oklahoma City.
After we saw the third tornado that this storm produced, that was a stronger tornado. We knew then that this storm was probably going to get big.
But as quickly as it began, the tornado dissipated. This was not a good sign. Meteorologist Gary England.
The movement of the parent storm, the main thunderstorm, was generally northeast. Each time it cycled, it would strengthen, and then it would weaken. Every time it would strengthen again, the tornado would come down larger.
Val was transmitting photos of the approaching storm back to Channel 9. Using a global positioning system, he was able to give detailed locations of the storm's path. These photos were then broadcast live to viewers across Oklahoma.
With me again. So Val, let us know if this thing starts to come down again, because we're going to come back here.
After the tornado dissipated, a new wall cloud formed. That wall cloud was much, much bigger, had extremely strong rotation. At that point, we knew that was going to be a big tornado.
Within minutes, another tornado was spawned. Dirt and debris were sucked up inside as it slowly formed a trail of destruction.
Wow, that is absolutely awesome. This thing is throwing up debris all over the place.
If the tornado continued its present course, it would make a direct hit on Oklahoma City.
Like I say, this thing is just tearing things up. It's, like I say, the funnel is real small. I'd say the funnel might not be any wider than 100 yards.
But I can tell you folks here in central Oklahoma, just take your tornado precautions.
Val had to zigzag through country roads to keep up with the tornado. As he drew closer and closer, he realized its deadly potential.
Yeah, we're getting working our way up to now probably go down. It's huge. I'll tell you what, it's at least an F3 at this point.
It was now a violent F3 tornado with wind speeds up to 200 miles per hour. As the pictures were relayed live to the entire city, Channel 9 weatherman Gary England issued dramatic warnings to residents of southwest Oklahoma City.
Just talk to me about it. Once again, I will go through tornado precautions for you folks down there. Below ground is best. If you do not have below ground shelter, go to the center part of your house.
Oh, Mother, it's May.
Because no one could be certain exactly where the monster tornado would turn next, people were still reluctant to take any precautions. Meteorologist David Andra issued an emergency tornado statement in one more attempt to get people's attention.
Well, the tornado emergency statement we sent in an effort to heighten the public's awareness that this was an extremely dangerous situation. We wanted to make sure that everyone knew that the threat was imminent, and it was a threat like they had probably not experienced.
Medical personnel immediately prepared for the onslaught, according to Dr. Dale Askins.
We had excellent news reporting. We could see the size of the tornado around the Chickasha area moving towards Oklahoma City. So we knew it was coming, and preparing for that with the large number of casualties was our immediate concern.
In the neighborhood of southwest Oklahoma City, the growing urgency of the weather warnings and panic calls from relatives had finally stirred John and Dixie Szymanski into action.
We realized the severity of the tornado when one of the local newscasters stated that if you weren't underground, you probably would not survive the tornado.
Val Castor continued north, following the storm that was now only a few miles from residential areas. Police blocked the roads from civilian traffic, and Gary England realized it was now an F5.
I had to say something to get everyone's attention because they've heard thousands of warnings, so I knew I had to say something to get their attention. That was get below ground. This is an extremely intense tornado. And I remember thinking then, a lot of people are going to die.
Oklahoma City braced itself for the full impact of the twister. In the neighborhood of southwest Oklahoma City, John and Dixie Szymanski had taken shelter in their closet. For 5 long minutes they waited, clinging to each other. The announcements on the television plotted the tornado's grim march toward their new home.
Dixie and I were talking about how much we loved each other just before it hit. We were praying.
in the span of 20 miles, as the tornado moved from the rural community of Chickasha to the more developed subdivision of Bridge Creek, it had grown to be almost a mile wide. It had also evolved into the most lethal classification on the tornado scale, an F5 with 300-mile-per-hour winds.
The tornado appeared to reach its maximum intensity about 318 miles an hour. Usually a hook echo on radar indicates a tornado is filled with precipitation. The hook echo was filled full of houses and debris and cars in the air. It was a horrific experience because I knew people were dying. I didn't know how many, but I knew people were dying.
At 6:40 p.m., the big twister hit the neighborhood of Moore. A swirling cloud of razor-sharp debris, it shredded everything in its path. As it crossed the interstate highway, the mile-wide tornado made a direct hit on John Szymanski's new home.
Right as it hit, we felt a strong sensation of wind and air at our feet. At that point, I knew we were probably going to be in some trouble, just due to the fact that we're in an interior room. There's no ventilation in the closet coming from the floorboards. At that point, we realized that the house was coming apart and it was disintegrating around us.
As the massive tornado finally hit, the Szymanski's home exploded, and his young wife's hand was torn from his grip.